Classmates, in this lecture, we continue to study specific factor model, focusing on the following issues. First, international trade in the specific factor model. Second, income distribution and the gains from trade. First, international trade in the specific factor model. In previous lecture, we have known that changes in relative price have strong effects on income distribution, creating both winners and losses. So if international trade leads to the change of relative price, it will have effects on the income distribution. Remember our assumption: two goods, clothes and food. Three factors: labor, capital, land. Capital is the specific factor to the production of clothes, while land is the specific factor to the food. Labor, therefore, is the mobile factor. As we know, the economy always produces at the point on its production profitability frontier, PP, where the slope of PP equals minus the relative price of clothes. Thus, an increase in relative price of clothes will cause production to move it down, and to the right along the production possibility frontier corresponding to the higher output of clothes and the lower output of food, which also means higher relative price of clothes, more relative supply of clothes. Look at figure 1. The relative supply, IS, is upward sloping. The relative demand, RD, usually downward sloping. The equilibrium relative quantities and the prices are determined by the intersection of RS with RD, if trade exists. The relative supply curve for the world often might be different from that in the epicenter of trade, because the other countries could differ in resources. The total amount of land, capital, and labor available. What is important is that the economy faces a different relative price when it is open to the international trade. For example, look at figure 1. If international trade results in the increase in the relative price of clothes, the change from PC over PF1 to PC over PF2. The increase in relative price of clothes induces the economy to produce more clothes. Meanwhile, consumers corresponding to higher relative price of clothes by demanding relative more food. At the higher relative price of clothes, the economy does export clothes and imports food. Again, for example, if opening up trade results in decreases in relative price of clothes, then it will induce the economy to produce relatively more food. Demand for the clothes will increase. So the economy will become an exporter of food and a clothes importer. We can come to a conclusion. When opening to trade, an economy exports the good whose price has increased, and imports the goods whose relative price has decreased. Second, income distribution and the gains from trade. Now we can ask the crucial question: who gains and who loses from international trade? We begin by asking how the welfare of the particular group is affected, and then how trade affects the welfare of the country as a whole. Since opening to trade will increase the relative price of the good in the export sector. If we link this prediction with the result regarding how relative price changes translate into the changes in the income distribution, we can get general outcome. Trade benefits the factor that is specific to the export sector of each country, but hurts the factor specific to the import competing sectors, with ambiguous effects on mobile factors. Do the gains from trade outweigh the losses? In the absence of trade, the output of a good must equal its consumption. Trade makes it possible for the mix of clothes and food consumed to differ from the mix of produced. While the amount of each good that a country consumes and produces may differ, however, a country cannot spend more than it earns. The value of consumption must be equal to the value of production. That is the following equation. Rearranging it, then get another equation. The equation is known as a budget constraint. Look at figure 2. Assume point 1 represents the economy production. The economy can choose its consumption point along its budget constraint. Before trade, the economy must consume what it produces. For example, point 2 on the production possibility frontier, but it is possible for trading economy to consume more of both goods than it would have in the absence of trade. The portion of the budget constraint in the colored region consists of feasible post-trade consumption choices, with consumption of both goods higher than pre-trade point 2. The fundamental reason why trade potentially benefits a country is that it expands the economy choices. This expansion of choice means it is always possible to redistribute income in such a way that everyone gains from trade, but redistribution is usually hard to implement. In a conclusion, a country as a whole will benefit from trade, but trade also produces losses, as well as produces with a country. Now, we can easily understand why some groups support free trade, while other groups will oppose free trade. In the specific factors model, the attitude towards free trade will be divided by the sector. The factor specific to export industry will be in favor of trade. The factor specific to import industry will be against trade. But in the long run, the specific factors could be mobile. Some factors will change the attitude towards free trade. We will discuss it in the HO model. That's all for this lecture. Thanks for your joining. See you next time.